Hey there, homeschool moms. Welcome to the Homeschool Well podcast. We're glad you're joining us today. This is Jenny here today by myself. Kim is not able to be here with me. It's summertime. It's July, and you know how summertime schedules go. It just kind of becomes wonky sometimes, and we just couldn't find a time this week that we could get together and do this. So I am here by myself. Hopefully you will still find it helpful and joyful, and Kim brings all the fun to the podcast, but hopefully you still feel like this was worth your time. So thank you so much for joining me today. We've been talking about testing this summer, and especially in the month of July. A lot of the families we work with have the Step Up for Students Scholarship, and it's the end of the school year, so a lot of people are doing testing anyway, and we've just had so many questions about it. So we wanted to make a podcast about questions that we hear from homeschool parents and just things that they ask us the most. We know that testing can feel really intimidating for parents sometimes. Just the unknown about what is going to happen or what the results mean can cause a lot of anxiety for people. So like some of the questions we get are, what if my child gets frustrated? What should I do? Or can I help them or give them hints? Or why does the test keep getting harder? My kid didn't know any of these answers. What does a percentile even mean? Sometimes it's easy to overthink the process and it just accidentally adds stress for you and your kids. So we just wanted to address some of those questions today. And you can always feel free to reach out to us if you have more questions. We're happy to help you and happy to answer them. And before we even started with the questions, we just wanted to give you some encouragement that all of these questions and worries you have are really completely normal. You don't have to be a testing expert. In fact, your job isn't even to make your child score as high as possible. Believe it or not, it's not, right? Your job is to help create a calm, encouraging environment so the results reflect what your child truly knows. And testing can be a good experience for your child, especially if they're getting older and they're going to need to take some tests later on in their high school years, for whatever happens after that. But starting them a little bit early can be a good idea too. It just gives them experience and it can be a good learning opportunity for them. We can do hard things, right? That is something that they can definitely learn from this. Philippians 4:13, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. That is a lesson that you can be teaching your kids along the way when they do have to do hard things. And sometimes testing can be hard because it can be a little frustrating for kids. They're not used to not knowing some of the answers. And some of these tests that they will take, they're not going to know all the answers on them. So we just want you to remember that a test is just a snapshot. It's not a judgment of your educational abilities or your job as a parent or any of those things. It's just a tool that helps you make informed decisions about your child's educational futures and what they're going to do next and what to buy next for curriculum and all the things. And we'll be talking more about some of those things in the next few weeks as the month goes on. All right. Let's get into some of the questions that we hear. Number one is, what is a percentile rank? This is probably the most misunderstood number on a test report. Percentile rank just tells you how your child performed compared to other students of that same age or grade on that test. So if your child scores 50th percentile on a test in a certain skill or subtest, that they scored better than 50% of students the same age or grade that took this test. It does not mean they got a 50% F, like they missed half the questions. It does not mean that. So if they score in the 75th percentile, it means they scored better than 75% of students their same age or grade on that particular subtest. Okay, so if they score in a lower percentile, it doesn't mean your child failed the test. It just shows where they fell compared to a national sample. Okay, so that's question number one. That's the one we get the most. Question number two, why do the questions seem to get harder and easier? So this is a question that's come up a lot recently. We've started giving the exact path test, and we also give KTEA, and this happens in both of those tests, kind of in a slightly different way. In adaptive tests or adaptive assessments like exact path, the program is trying to find your child's just right level. So let's say your second grader is testing on exact path. They will be getting second grade level questions, and if they're getting them right, then it moves up to third, fourth, and it keeps going in certain areas. So maybe fractions, they're doing really well in it, so it's going to ask them harder questions on fractions, going up different grade levels until they are not able to answer them correctly. And then it'll ask them something else, and then they kind of come down. The results actually show you the exact questions they asked, what skill they were, and what grade level they were. And it looks like a roller coaster. They're going up and down, trying to find your child's just right level in those different skill areas. In the KTEA, we're asking questions at a certain level, and we keep going and going until they miss so many in a row. So we're trying to find the child's ceiling to know when we can discontinue. So if they keep getting them right, then we keep going higher and higher. So sometimes it seems like they are getting these really difficult questions that are not on their grade level, and that might be absolutely true. That's exactly what the test is supposed to do. All right, the next question we get is, what should I say to my child during the test? And actually, this is one that we have to address with parents too. You want to keep your encouragement focused on effort, not answers or strategies. Otherwise, you'll invalidate the results. So things that you can say is, you're doing a great job, stick with it, keep going. Or just do your best, or just give it your best guess. Or it's okay if you don't know every answer. Take your time. Those are some examples of things that you should say to your child during a test if they're struggling a little bit or seem to be having a hard time. Things you don't want to say would be hints or strategies that are going to give them a shot at an answer that they may not have known. Or you don't want to explain the question. You don't want to suggest different strategies for solving a problem, or say, sound it out, or remember, start in the ones place when you're going to add those. You don't want to give them any type of strategies. The goal is authentic results. Here's some questions that we get that have real quick answers. Should my child guess if they don't know the answer? Sure. They can take their best guess and move on. They don't need to sit and struggle and worry about it. Just take your best guess and move on. Another question we get is, can I have snacks? Sure, you can give your kids snacks while they're testing if you want to, if that helps them stay awake and stay focused. Chewing gum is another way that really helps too, and that has worked for my kids. Another question is, should I tell them their score afterwards? Well, that's up to you. If they're asking and they definitely want to know, then I would tell them and try to explain it to them in an encouraging way. If they have no idea what they're doing and they really don't care, I probably wouldn't tell them. But that's up to you. You know your child better than we do. Another question we get is, how often should my child test? That depends on the test. For KTEA, you probably only need to do it once a year or once every couple years if your child is young. For tests like Exact Path, they're great because they actually work as an ongoing progress monitoring assessment that you can use during your school years. So you can do it like beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, and you can see how your kids are doing at 3 different points in the year instead of waiting until the end of the year to see all the results at once. And with that test too, when you do 3 of those in between, there's a learning path that opens up and your kids are able to practice the skills based on the results they got from the test. So let's say they do one in August, then they get some practice based on their August scores, and they're able to practice until they take it again in winter, and then you hopefully see some growth in some of the areas where they were lower at the beginning of the year. That one is a great test for ongoing progress monitoring. It's very targeted and individualized. Overall, testing should leave you with more confidence, not more anxiety, and that's what we're trying to help our parents understand. When you understand how the process works and you understand what the terms mean, you're able to focus less on the score and more on what comes next and what to do with the results. And that's where real growth really happens, both for you and your family and your child. We hope that this information has helped you today. That was our goal with this podcast. And if you've been curious about Exact Path or KTEA or other types of standardized testing in general, we hope this episode answered some of those biggest questions that you had. And if you still have questions, send them our way for sure. You can find us at thehomeschoolwell.com. We love helping homeschool parents make sense of testing so that you can make confident decisions for your family. Thanks again for joining me today, and we will see you next week. Bye.